birds flying high. You know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new
Good evening, race fans. Welcome here to Phoenix for tonight's championship race in the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight up here in the booth is Chris Wright, and we got Dean Hopton working the controls this evening. Chris, welcome to Phoenix. What can we expect to see out of these drivers here tonight?
Well, I haven't seen a whole lot of racing or participated in a whole lot of racing since the build came out last week, so I am curious to see, especially down in the old 3 and 4, what is now 1 and 2, how much they can move around, maybe getting below that yellow line, getting all the way up towards the wall. We'll see if there is another option than just right around the bottom down there. I still predict down in 3 and 4, everyone will be right on the bottom, the way that corner is set up. Should be a great race, lots of strategy. We'll see about tire fall off, and hopefully we get a little bit of the track widening out and get to see some good racing tonight for this championship.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, this is the championship finale here tonight. 4 drivers going head-to-head for the title. Those 4 drivers are Brandon Evans, Steve Tucker, Jamie Barkas, and Leroy Koblenz, all battling it out for the title here tonight, and of course it will be the top finisher of those 4 going home with the trophy. Before we do get underway, we do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help put this on for us, the folks at Crusin Classic Sales and Service. Glad to have them on board as the title sponsor for this series. Jam Printing and Promotions and the folks over at Veterans for Life Foundation as well. Couldn't do without them, and couldn't do without all the admins behind the scenes here that helped put this one on. But qualifying just wrapping up, about a minute remaining in the session, and so far it is Jamie Barkas, one of our championship contenders, on the top of the charts, with Brandon Evans, Ryan Pendleton, and Patrick Drabick just behind him in the top 4. So a good start tonight here for Barkas if he's able to hold on to that title spot. Riding on board here with Cody McElwain as he gets out here and runs his lap He is currently 5th on the charts, and I do believe he's just out here trying to put a couple extra laps in to get prepared for tonight's event. Had some speed in practice earlier tonight and does look like he's going to stick with that 5th place starting spot on the grid. Just 20 seconds remaining before we do get down to that starting grid. But Chris, obviously for you and I, this is our first time here with this series, but a couple familiar names in the field, including championship contender Brandon Evans, who has 7 wins on the season, has been absolutely dominant. Why don't you throw a dart in the wind here and make your race pick, which could also be the championship pick?
Well, I'm not sure I know any of these names. You mentioned one that you know. I mean, Bengals legend out there, wide receiver John Ross. He's out there, so he might be pretty fast, especially in a straight line. Outside of that, I'm not sure. We'll see. Jamie got the pole there. The only guy getting down to the 9s. Just 14 cars out here tonight. 11 qualified, so not sure how many cars are going to start here. Somewhere between 11 and 14. Might see a long green race here. Get some green flag pit stops. See what kind of strategy pays off out here.
Well, you didn't give me a race pick, but we'll go through the starting grid anyway. Starting on the pole here tonight, Jamie Barkis in car number 15. He's one of our championship contenders. Lining up alongside him in second in car 39 is Brandon Evans, another one of the title contenders. Number 2, Ryan Pendleton in car 23 alongside Patrick Drabick in the 07. Row 3 is where we find the 6 of Cody McElwain alongside championship contender Steve Tucker in car number 24. Row number 4, George Jewell on board the 36 machine alongside the 99 of John Ross. Rounding out the top 10 here tonight in our championship contenders, the 43 of Leroy Koblenz alongside the 42 of Bobby Germain. Just behind them in row number 6, it's the 27 of Jake Ellingson alongside the 56 of Craig Schroeder. And rounding out the field here tonight is the 85 of James Goshen alongside the 58 of Doug Ellingson. I don't believe that Ellingson is actually here to take the start, so it looks like we're going to be 13 cars deep for the start of this one. In my race pick this evening, and he's going to be my championship pick as well, of course, is going to be the dominant driver behind the wheel, that 39 in Brandon Evans. And you mentioned Jamie Barkis in the 15, starting on the pole tonight in that Crusin Classics machine. So I think that's a pretty solid pick for you tonight, Chris.
Well, I think Steve Tucker's going to win the race.
All right, we're going to go with Steve Tucker, and that's one of the championship drivers. So good pick. Their pace car is off. We're going to get set to go green. Jamie Barkis on the inside is the control car with Brandon Evans on his outside. We're looking for a clean start here. Barkis looking for the loud pedal as we head to the restart zone. We are green. Jamie Barkis and Brandon Evans lead us underway here as the drivers dive down into the dogleg. Brandon Evans with a great jump up on the high side. Evans with a bit of an advantage on the outside of Jamie Barkis. We'll see if he can clear him here off of turn number 2. Barkis and Evans side by side. Barkis on the inside, Evans up top, has the advantage as they head for turn number 3. And we'll see who has it at the line. I think it's going to be the 39 of Brandon Evans to lead lap number 1, Chris.
And you see these guys cutting the dog leg here, running all over this front straightaway, still side by side out here at the front. Ooh, the car on the bottom's going to wash up a little bit there towards the car on the top. Both survive right now. Don't want to tear your stuff up here early. You want to be able to make a longer run here. And the small field, I think tire saving is going to come into play here. So might not see everything these guys have right here at the start.
And that is a good segue into our race information tonight. 150 laps at the tires as caution is out. We do have one of our championship contenders involved in Steve Tucker. We'll see if we can get a replay of that incident here.
That left front's not moving. That was half the field right there, boys.
We'll load this one up, see what happened That's the 07 of Drabick going around Tucker with hard impact into the outside wall. A couple other cars piling into it there. Big hit for the 56 machine. That is Craig Schroeder. You see the 85 involved in that one as well, James Goshen. So multiple cars involved here very early on in this one. And they do have one fast repair to use tonight. So an opportunity for these drivers to get the car fixed up. A bit of a freebie, but you really don't want to use that fast repair this early in the event, Chris, as there's still a very long way to go. 147 laps remaining for these drivers. And you see right there, that's Drabick going around off the nose of Tucker. Tucker just doesn't calculate it properly, gets into the left rear of Patrick Drabick. Everyone else just piles into it. I think quite a few of them could have got away without having to use their fast repair until the other cars piled into it. And it's just unfortunate for the 5 or 6 drivers involved. As you see Drabick overshoot his pit box there. George Jewell on pit road. Bobby Germain down there as well in car number 42. I believe that was a Ben & Jerry's number 42. That was a cool looking ride for Germain, as James Goshen down there on pit road as well. He's out of Cambridge, Ohio. Chris, how far is that from you?
I have no idea where that even is.
It's in Ohio.
Well, I mean, I got that, but I don't know where that's at.
Well,
let's not be very close.
Up front, it's Brandon Evans leading the way in the number 39 machine. So we ride on board with him. You can see the field back behind him. The Premier Racing Setups, number 39 for Brandon Evans. A great looking paint scheme on that one. And that's his championship rival just behind him in the number 15 machine, Jamie Barkis out of Pensacola, Florida. As we head into winter up here in Canada, I'm quite jealous of Jamie Barkis down there in the warm area of Florida. There's Ryan Pendleton out of Columbus, Ohio. You know where that one is, Chris.
Yeah,
I
I'll be there
hope.
tomorrow.
Crusin Classics on board that one. Cody McElwain out of Gilbertown, Alabama. Nice to see a variety of locations for these drivers. Drivers from all over the country down there in the US of A. That's the 99 of John Ross, Bell Buckle, Tennessee. What a name, Bell Buckle.
Well, I have an update.
Go ahead.
Here.
Yeah, what we got, Chris?
Cambridge, Ohio is almost to West Virginia. That's about 4 hours from me, so nowhere near.
Well, country roads are going to take you home to West Virginia if you want to check that one out. Brandon Evans going to be the control car here as the base car is off. That's the 39.
Oh, the Ben & Jerry's car hit the wall catching the field right there.
Well, we just almost had a milkshake out of that 42 machine as Brandon Evans going to look for the loud pedal here this time. He's going to want to clear that 15 machine up on the outside as he gets a great restart. Brandon Evans, the leader here, heads down into the dog leg, dives all the way down almost to the inside wall there, as we're going to have lap traffic not too far ahead of the leaders, Chris, as looks like somebody got off pit road a little bit late, so we may end up catching them here within the next lap or so. But Brandon Evans leads the way currently ahead of the Jamie Barkis machine. We currently have championship contenders in first and second, as well as 11th and 13th. And speaking of 13th, that is Steve Tucker, who finds himself 3 laps down at this point. So unfortunate for Steve Tucker. Not totally out of it yet. Could have a chance to get some laps back throughout the event. Still, of course, 143 to go, but not looking overly optimistic for Tucker at this point. But Brandon Evans currently leading the way as we see Jake Ellingson there in car 27 riding on board with him. Finds himself currently in that 5th spot, looking to take away spot number 4 from Cody McElwain, riding just behind him. That's an RFK lookalike in the McElwain machine, just ahead of him there out of Gilbertown, Alabama. Of course, McElwain is, as he's trying to hold off a hungry field of drivers behind him. You can see Barkis as well closing in on the rear end of Brandon Evans. So that battle for the lead about to heat up here. Evans doing a nice job getting down to the inside of the dog leg each and every lap, setting himself up for a nice run here into turn number, I guess this is turn number 1 now, Chris, at Phoenix. I'm still not totally used to the new layout after they basically swapped the track around.
Yeah, they went in and changed some things, put in that dog leg there. In my opinion, they really hurt the racing that we see here and whatnot. I think that the track is not better now than it was before. But one thing I'm seeing out here is that '07 is flying back through the field right now. John Ross just moved over and let him go. And I want to talk about that John Ross paint scheme. That thing is perfect. That thing is sharp. I love the look of that John Ross car. It's got some nice shine to it. Got the old Skull Bandit out there. Look at that thing.
Yeah, it's definitely got a nice look to it. There is looks like maybe a hint of gold on the side of that Skull Bandit number 99 machine of John Ross. And I still love the name Bell Buckle, Tennessee. It just sounds like a place that you want to visit and just wear your shiniest belt buckle just to fit in with those folks. But Brandon Evans leads as we hop on board here once again with Jake Ellingson, the number 27 machine. He's going to take a dive down inside the dog leg. Not quite able to gain too much on the 6. McElwain actually does quite a bit. Has to check up a little bit as he nearly gets into the back of McElwain. I love the numbers on that 27 and the 6. Just the chrome look to them makes it stand out quite a bit here under the lights at Phoenix this evening. And of course, folks, on the top right of the screen, you're going to see some of our sponsor logos file through. Crusin Classics, Jam as well. So be sure to check those folks out and let them know that we sent you over. And we greatly appreciate their support here at the Goat Locker Racing League. But Evans leads currently just ahead of the 15 machine of Barkus. Then it's Ryan Pendleton, Cody McElwain, and Jake Ellingson. The top 5 just behind them: Patrick Drabeck, John Ross, George Jewell, Craig Schroeder, and Leroy Koblenz. That's your top 10 as we ride on board here with Brandon Evans. Looking back at the field, that's the view he wants to see all night long. He's 10% of the way down towards the end of this one, so still a long way to go. 136 laps remaining. As we take a look a little bit further back in the top 10, that is George Jewell in position number 7, currently chasing down the John Ross 99 machine. George out of Lakeview, Michigan here tonight. Nice to see another state represented in the field, Chris.
Yeah, and one thing I'm just trying to get some information on here and listening to these guys, I don't think anybody's shifting. It looks like everybody's maybe staying even in 4th gear. Not sure if they got some custom gearing out here. Not sure how they managed to get everybody in 4th gear, or iRacing at some tracks doesn't even allow a 5th gear use. I think Martinsville, Bristol have became a 4-gear tracks, just trying to take away that shifting ability. But one thing I'm seeing here out of Brandon Evans, he's getting right down to the bottom. He's lifting early. He's not attacking. He's not being over aggressive. Making sure right here just paints that yellow line. Just gets all the way down there. See him come off the corner. We got him coming down the apron too. He's cutting that dog leg every time. That tells me that it's not doing damage to the race car, because it's hit or miss in this Cup car since the next gen came out. Sometimes you pick up some damage because it is so rough down there.
Yeah, Chris, want to give a shout out to the folks tuned in tonight over on the YouTube channel. Roger Pierce with us in the chat. Let us know, Roger, who you think has the best shot at the victory here tonight. Again, folks, our championship contenders in this one: Brandon Evans, currently your leader, as well as Jamie Barkus just behind him, Steve Tucker, and Leroy Koblenz as well. That is our championship 4 as we're back on board with Jake Ellingson. You see these drivers closing in on Evans a little bit. The top 5 getting a little bit tighter here as we advance through the early stages of today's race. Great dive down to the bottom there for Ellingson, trying to get an advantage on the 6 machine. Just ahead of him there, that is Cody McElwain. Once again, as you see these drivers trying different lines, Chris, you have some that stay above that dog leg, not trying to get all the way. Oh, that camera scared me a little bit. I thought the 27 was going to drive right through the wall on the inside, but I think it was just the camera sticking out a little far on the left side. That was a bit spooky.
Yeah, right now everybody's kind of running single file line. There's nobody really moving up off the bottom. Some guys are doing a little bit of a diamond. I am curious to see if that'll change over the next 10 or 15 laps, because this is a track that even before the last build where they really worked on the surface model, trying to widen these grooves out for the drivers there. Everybody wants multi-groove racing, wants to be able to run around. This was a track that, depending on the conditions of the racetrack and the car setup, you could run up higher down in turns 1 and 2. So I do think if anybody starts taking a chance and getting up there and seeing if it works, I think we're going to see that come into play if somebody decides to try it. Maybe it'll be a monkey see, monkey do type of thing, where if one guy does it, other guys see that it works and they'll do it. If nobody does it, though, they might just stay right around the bottom.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting here, as we may have a battle for the lead heating up here. Barkus nearly getting to the inside of Brandon Evans. That was the closest they've been over this last sequence of laps since the restart. Barkus getting a little bit more adventurous with his dives into the corner, trying to close that gap, trying to get by Evans, but Evans once again using that dog leg masterfully here and pulling away just a little bit. And just back to the YouTube chat, want to give a shout out as well to Ray Ellingson hanging out with us over there in the chat, and an update from Roger Pierce as well. He mentioned that he's spotting Steve here tonight. That is one of our championship contenders, Steve Tucker, and he said that they're going to get their laps back and get it done. So Roger, we're going to hold you to that here tonight, and we'll take a look at the end of it and see what you guys were able to manage with this one. 25 laps in, 126 to go in tonight's 150 lap race. Once again, it's the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series, brought to you by Jam Printing as well. And once again, glad to have those partners on board with us as we do ride on board once again with Ellingson just a little bit further back from the leader, riding in that 5th spot right now, trying to catch up to the 6 of McElwain just ahead of him here on the racetrack. But it's Brandon Evans leading the way, Chris, and he's done a phenomenal job since the drop of the green flag tonight, doing everything he's needed to do. But I do quickly want to touch on the quick laps by the top 2 at this point. Both drivers have ran the exact same lap. 27.34 for those two drivers is their best lap on the day. Evans currently about 5/100ths of a second quicker than Barkus, who's just behind him in that 2nd spot.
Now, we
as
got a
caution's
caution.
out, Chris. Caution's out. We'll
Bobby,
see who's involved in that one. Bobby Germain involved. That's the 85 of James Goshen, as Goshen's bumper has decided to hit Alt F4 off of the nose of that car and slide across the racetrack here. We'll see what happened to Goshen to bring out the latest caution.
Right here? I was talking about it earlier, how rough it is down there cutting the dog leg. And James went down there to cut that dog leg, and it got the car all upset. And I'm going to tell you, man, the Ben & Jerry's car maybe should have checked up a little bit. He was quite a ways back and could see that develop. And
that's the 42 of Bobby Germain that you're referencing there, Chris. Nearly gets together with Goshen, as Goshen has a deep dive down into that dog leg.
This replay, I think, is either well after or well before, because there was quite a gap between the two at the point the 85 spins here.
So see what happens with Goshen, as I think Goshen might have just stepped a little too much onto that dog leg and went around, Chris, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and there was quite a gap there to the Ben & Jerry's car, and that I feel like there was plenty of time there for him to get slowed down, miss the wreck. I mean, you could see it happen. It shouldn't have been a surprise that the guy was sitting there.
Here we go.
Yeah, you see, he's going to come off of 2. He's going to turn down to that dog leg and just upsets the car completely.
Riding on board here with James Goshen right there. As soon as he went down into the dog leg, the car just got absolutely upset. Slid back up the race. Oh! I think he accelerates to try to spin back around, not knowing that Germain was coming around, and ended up colliding with the 42 machine. So
whether
that's an unfortunate incident there.
Whether he accelerates or not doesn't matter. There was a big gap there. It's like you got to lift and check up and miss him. You know. You would like to see
Absolutely,
that guy hold
and
the brake, but
it does look like they were able. Steve Tucker with not sure what that message is under his hometown of Boston, Massachusetts. We see the 42 of Bobby Germain on pit road. Keep in mind, some of these drivers were involved in the incident on, I believe it was lap number 3 to begin the race, and have already used up their one allotted fast repair tonight.
yeah, and it looks like everybody here pitted and got 4 tires. Steve Tucker, I was about to say there, you were talking about it under green. I wasn't sure if we were going to see the cautions that he needed. His pace wasn't too far off. I think he had top 5 pace, but I wasn't sure with the car count that we were going to see, the cautions that he needs. And he still needs one more,
And Chris, we were going to pull a driver in for an interview, but I'm not actually seeing any drivers currently in the Discord server. Not sure why, but if any driver wants to talk to us, hop up into the waiting room. We'll have a quick chat with you as we see Brandon Evans continuing to lead the way currently in that 39 machine. There's the 15 of Jamie Barkis on his outside. Looks like the lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. So we're going to get set to go green momentarily. Rounding out the top 5 here is Cody McElwain, Ryan Pendleton, and Patrick Drabeck. That's the top 5, followed by John Ross, George Jewell, Leroy Koblenz, Craig Schroeder, and Jake Ellingson, as we are going to get set to go green this time, Chris, right? Brandon Evans, the control car on the inside. He's looking for a clean and green restart. We'll see what he can do. And keep in mind, these drivers did just come down pit road under this caution. So fresh tires on board these cars as Evans going to grab the loud pedal here. He's already tugged the seat belts and gave the steering wheel a shake as we're getting set to go green here. Green flag is out. Brandon Evans on the loud pedal. We're back underway. It's Evans out front.
Evans out front with a great jump there. Lots of the field's going to get single filed out right here. It looks like just a few side-by-side battles down here.
Watching the 23 machine up on the high side, that's Ryan Pendleton. He's going to get past Patrick Drabeck, work his way into that 4th spot. He's got his sights set on Cody McElwain as contact for the lead. That's Barkis and Evans coming together. Barkis on the inside, Evans on the outside, not giving each other much space whatsoever as Barkis gonna try to steal the lead here from Evans. Evans gonna battle back up on the high side. Evans pinching Barkis down a little bit here. They continue to be side by side. Barkis going to back out of it a little bit here, give himself an opportunity to line back up, make another run at Brandon Evans, but the intensity already picking up for these championship contenders. Still 117 laps to go, so you don't want to risk it too much here, but you still want to let your championship rival know that you're ready to fight as Barkis gets into the back of Evans and Jamie Barkis goes around. That's one of our championship contenders. Green flag does stay out, so we're going to stay under green flag conditions, and that has absolutely
we got a wreck here. John Ross.
That is a saving moment for Jamie Barkis as John Ross has an incident. We'll see what we can find out on the replay machine. Watching Jamie Barkis here, see if we can get a look at what happened to him. He just sends it in too deep, clips the, actually hits the back of Brandon Evans and goes for a slide. It's not going to be what brings the caution out, so we gotta watch what happened.
An admin threw a caution there.
Wow. John Ross goes for an absolute slide up into the outside wall. He had help. I think that was the 56 of Craig Schroeder, but I'm going to verify that.
I believe it was the 36.
You're right on that, Chris. That is the 36 of George Jewell into the back of the John Ross machine, and Ross ends up in the outside wall. That's what brings out caution number 3 on the day, and that really does save Jamie Barkis because he didn't get a caution with his spin and ends up finding himself back in position number 10. So a lot of work for Barkis to do to get back up to the front. Passing hasn't been overly easy here so far tonight, and now he's got to pass 9 cars if he wants to get up to the race lead.
I'll tell you what, the way those two were racing for the lead, they weren't afraid to get physical at this point in the race. That tells me there might be a history there. And then the second thing to talk about here, Steve Tucker got his cautions. He's back on the lead lap. He had decent pace there. So I think his championship hopes are way back on the right side now.
That is insane that Steve Tucker is back on the lead lap. But like we mentioned, absolutely anything could happen for these drivers as George Jewell hits pit road. The 42 machine of Bobby Germain also down there. Craig Schroeder in the 56. That's the 85 of James Goshen. These drivers all hitting pit road, topping up on fuel, I do believe, not taking a set of tires here, as you do want to save some rubber for the end of this race. And of course, still a long way to go in this one, but Steve Tucker's worked his way back into the championship fight. Meanwhile, Jamie Barkis has made his run a little bit harder, falling further back in the field. But the speed he's had here tonight, Chris, I definitely think that we can't count any of these guys out as of yet. But Brandon Evans looking really, really good so far.
Yeah, you can't count anybody yet. And I'm curious how physical this thing's going to get at the end. Lots of guys running right on top of each other. It's going to be exciting. It's hopefully going to clean up a little bit and get some green flag racing. Maybe get a green flag pit stop here to the end.
I definitely do think we will get to the point of a green flag pit stop. These races, you know, everyone has high intensity at this point. They're all anxious, ready to get going. You see the beating and banging out of Evans and Barkis, and now we see McElwain up on the high side of the front row. So a new competitor on the outside of Brandon Evans on this restart. As the pace car is off, Evans once again the control car on the inside, but we'll watch and see what Cody McElwain can do up on the top. It can be tough if you are the second car on that front row up on the high side, because you can't necessarily see what the leader's doing down there on your inside. But we'll see what kind of restart we get out of the front row this time as we approach the Geico restart zone. Brandon Evans going to be looking for a clean and green restart, and we are back underway, Chris Wright.
Yeah, back underway. Everybody's getting away pretty clean for now. We'll have to see how long it takes the 15 to get back up here to the front and try to race for this lead. Also have to keep an eye back there on Steve. He's now getting to race all these guys for a spot. I'm going to tell you what, that 15's already back up here taking fourth.
As we see Cody McElwain started in that 6th spot on this restart, has fallen back now to 5th. So not a great restart for Cody McElwain. And like you mentioned, Jamie Barkis already up into the top 4. So not too far back from Brandon Evans at all. But Brandon does have a car coming very close to his rear end at this point. That is the 23 machine of Ryan Pendleton. Pendleton with a great restart and run since the drop of the green flag here. He has Ellingson right behind him. Brandon Evans, we're going to have to see how he approaches this. Does he let the 23 by, knowing that that's really not who he's racing tonight, and minimize his risk of anything happening? Or is Evans here just to race for the win and win the title that way, Chris?
I don't think you're going to let anybody buy for the lead. The clean air is too important. That is one thing I know that is worse on this build is the dirty air. So you're going to want to try to keep clean air on the nose at any and all cost.
So we'll see what happens here. Evans continues to lead over Pendleton, and Ellingson just behind him. And then Barkis currently holding on to position number 4 ahead of McElwain. Barkis, of course, we saw him with his issues. Here comes Pendleton to the inside of the 39 of Brandon Evans. Evans still not giving him a ton of space here, as they're going to be nearly side by side. Now they clear back to single file. Evans dives down through the dog leg, now heads towards turn number 1. That's Ellingson behind him, and here comes the 27. The 27 of Ellingson, sorry, trying to get by
what a
Pendleton.
run he's getting off of turn 2 every
As here
time.
comes Pendleton again, Chris. This is quite the battle that we have brewing for the race lead here. It's Evans up on the high side, Pendleton down on the inside here. We'll see if Pendleton can get that position here.
He's been a lot better coming up out of turn 4. Or out of turn 2. This time he's not going to be able to run his line up out of there, so it's probably not going to be as good.
Meanwhile, Barkus to third. Yeah, you got that one right, Chris. Barkus is working his way forward. And just an update on the other championship drivers. Leroy Koblenz currently finds himself back in 9th. Steve Tucker in the 11th spot, just 2 positions behind him. So we do have all the championship drivers currently out there on the lead lap, trying to work their way forward. But Evans under pressure once again. Here comes Ryan Pendleton down to the inside of Brandon Evans. Evans going to pinch down a little bit once again, try to close off the run of Ryan Pendleton, but Pendleton going to do everything he can. Somebody hit the wall a little bit further back. Doesn't matter at this point. Evans ahead of Pendleton. Pendleton trying to get that run. We'll see what he can do here off of turn number 2. Looks like he's setting up nicely here for a run to get to the inside of Brandon Evans. Maybe make the move down here into turn number 3, Chris, as they're going to be side by side once again.
Oh, he gets loose there on the bottom.
Great catch.
But what that 23 is doing down there in 1 and 2, he's not trying to just paint the white line or the yellow line all the way around. You see, he's going to wash up. He's going to do a diamond. He's going to go up the track, and then he's going to try to drive a little straighter off, and that gives him some really good acceleration. Now, what you might worry about with that is on a long run, you're laying on the right rear a little bit there, center off. You might worry about wearing out that right rear a little bit doing that. But, I mean, he's been doing this a long time, I'm sure. He knows what he's doing. I'm sure he is managing that to the best of his ability, and it's really working right now. Look at that diamond. The 39 is now moved up trying to do the diamond as well.
Yeah,
he's not nearly as good at it right now.
Brandon Evans just trying to hold off the Ryan Pendleton machine. Pendleton once again down on the inside of Brandon Evans, just looking for that run off the corner. A strong run there off of turn number 4, but not quite able to get there once again, as Evans with a great run down here through turns 1 and 2, headed towards the front straightaway or the back straightaway, whatever straightaway this is on the new Phoenix. But here comes Pendleton back to the inside of Brandon Evans. He's getting there early this time. Is this the time that Ryan Pendleton takes the race lead?
As good as he is down in 1 and 2, he is bad coming out of 4. He cannot do it coming out of 4. He's losing a lot of ground back here, and now he's not going to be able to diamond. So
Chris, I think he still has the advantage here, but Evans going to get a run off of turn number 2, allows him to clear back. Pendleton going to fall back to second, sorry, not all the way to 7th. It's a little bit too far back, but Jamie Barkus has arrived on scene. He's going to be looking to make quick work of Ryan Pendleton here momentarily. The Pensacola, Florida driver fell from 2nd all the way back outside the top 10, then got a timely caution, and as John Ross got hooked up into the outside wall, now works his way back to 3rd just behind Ryan Pendleton, as Pendleton all over the rear end of Brandon Evans once again. It's been this way for about 10 or so laps at this point. Evans just a little bit better in the later stages of the lap, able to get away from Ryan Pendleton, but Pendleton just trying to do whatever he can to get out front and lead some laps here tonight. We are under 100 laps to go, though, 99 to go as we're on lap number 52.
Yeah, and what this tells me right here is the way he's able to hold him off once he gets side by side, that outside groove is there. I'm going to be shocked if somebody doesn't start moving up the track and just running all the way around the outside. The cars we've seen move up down in 1 and 2 are making the pace. If I was out here and I was one of these guys that I was running 4th or 5th and I see this stuff working up there a little bit, I'd be going right to the fence down there in 1 and 2 especially. I'd be going all the way up there at that top seam and seeing what kind of time I can make up there. And down in even down here in 3 and 4, I think the second groove is going to work here at some point, and it's just going to take somebody figuring it out. And it might just happen here in this battle for the lead.
Now, Chris, you mentioned if you were out there, if you were in this race and say you were Jamie Marcus, currently running third overall, but second in the championship fight, what would be your strategy for this last 100 laps?
Try to get the lead. That's all you can do. That's your strategies. Go hard. Go get the front. Go to the front. You got a good car. I think clean air is the deciding factor between these front two or three. Now, I wouldn't be in a hurry here to take second. Even if I could run him down and take second, I wouldn't be in a hurry to do it because he's given the championship leader all he can handle right now. And so by him doing that, they're both racing really hard, and you can maybe sit there in third and save a little bit of tire.
Definitely a good call there. You want to conserve the tire as much as you can, especially if we do go on a long green flag run here as we have so far since the last restart. I think we're about 30 laps or so just about since we did take the last caution flag. So these drivers making some work out here, try to work their way forward, kill some laps here off the board. It's Evans and Pendleton, the top two, with Barkas just behind, chasing down championship leader Brandon Evans as they come around here to take lap number 57. The laps quickly ticking off the board at this point, Chris. And if you're Jamie Barkas, of course, you're starting to realize that it's not too late for you to get back up there. You still have a pit stop or two to come, which could definitely come into play, and you can never rule out the possibility of another yellow on the field. So definitely not over for any of these championship contenders at this point, as Koblenz now finds himself in the top 10 as well as Tucker. So all four of the championship contenders up in the top 10 and nobody really out of it yet.
I will say this. I am surprised that Tucker is still as far back as he is. I feel like we saw a little bit more pace in that car than what he's showing right now. I'm not sure if he's just being that careful or what the deal is, but I'd like to see Tucker make a move here and get to the front. We're far enough into the run where if you got something you think you can run up there with, I think it's time to start passing some race cars.
Well, speaking of passing race cars, I believe that the battle for second could be brewing here. That's the 15 machine of Jamie Barkas. He thought about passing Ryan Pendleton there. He tried to pass him, just wasn't able to do it, as Pendleton had the advantage of the inside lane and that dog leg to be able to charge forward. He's following what Brandon Evans is doing at this point, and Evans has done a phenomenal job out there on the racetrack, diving down through that dog leg, working his way into turn number one, and having the advantage over his competitors. As you see, the top five has broken away. The last car in that bunch is Cody McElwain, and he has a bit of a gap behind him back to Patrick Drabeck, who finds himself about 0.9 of a second behind McElwain in position number 6. He has George Jewell behind him, as well as Leroy Koblenz, Steve Tucker, and John Ross, as I do believe that Craig Schroeder may have made a pit stop here. Actually, no, that was just him diving down a little bit further than you might normally see, but that's typical here at Phoenix. You're using every bit of the paved surface that you have at your disposal here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, and one thing I'm starting to see, especially amongst these leaders, you see how everybody, look at that right there. He's moved up to that second groove, well above that seam, not even trying to wrap the bottom. I think we're starting to see the first time tonight cars moving around down there, and not just on a diamond. And you know, a diamond, you're turning back to the bottom. A lot of guys are starting to run up there and stay up there for the whole corner. So hopefully that'll pay off, and we'll get to see some guys move around. Let's take a look there at Tucker.
Steve Tucker did get by the 43 machine of Koblenz, so that is a change in position for third in that championship. As Tucker heard you, Chris, he's already gained 2 spots since you decided that it was time for him to move forward. So maybe he's using this to his advantage, ticking off positions at this point as Ellingson drops
twice. Did you see the lane he's running? Look how high Tucker's running down here in 1 and 2.
Maybe you were listening to Steve Tucker.
Oh, now he's wrapping the bottom. I said, look how high he's running, and now he's down there all the way on the yellow line. He's like, what are you talking about? I wasn't running anywhere but the bottom.
Yeah, he doesn't want to listen to you, Chris, as Brandon Evans currently leads the way once again over Pendleton in that second spot. Barkis back there in third, kind of falling back a little bit here. So you got to wonder, are the tires starting to fall away from these drivers? I do think they are, as we're nearly 40 laps into the run here for these drivers. And, they're definitely not taking it easy or conserving tires on board these machines here tonight. It is balls to the wall, 110% each and every lap for these guys.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Oh, we got somebody really slow here on the front stretch. What happened there?
That is not sure who it was.
It was
The 07 of Drabick had a bit of an issue. He was up there in that 6th position.
Maybe what a save. He got really sideways.
As we see Patrick Drabick there was able to gather it up and get back moving forward. So glad to see him still out there on the racetrack. No worse for wear as he was a few laps ago. We're about 10 laps away from halfway at this point, Chris. Just a little bit less, actually, as these drivers doing a phenomenal job here tonight. Once again, it's the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series, brought to you by Veterans for Life Foundation, as well as Jam Printing and Promotions. Be sure to check them all out. Let them know that we sent you over, and we greatly appreciate their support each and every night that we have here in this series. Of course, championship night once again, and as I mentioned earlier, your championship contenders here tonight. Brandon Evans currently in the lead. Third place, who is Jamie Barkis. He's second in the points right now. Steve Tucker, he's up to 6th, Chris, just outside the top 5, and Leroy Koblenz rounding out the top 10. That is the 4th driver in that championship 4. So Steve Tucker starting to come alive here at the right time.
Yeah, now I have a question for you. I'm not sure if you know this or not. We got full fuel loads tonight. Is there any cutoff or anything like that?
I believe we're 100% fuel, Chris, in these cars. So
pit window should be open right now. We should be on that front side of the fuel window. You can probably pit and make it from here. So anybody who pits now could run to the end. You definitely don't want to pit now and run all the way to the end on the tires, but it is an option if you think you need to throw a Hail Mary.
And for those of you following along at home here tonight, our track temperature, the drivers are currently racing on 73 degrees Fahrenheit, so rather cool racetrack here tonight in the desert of Phoenix, which would be expected at this point in the year. But Brandon Evans has done a phenomenal job. Definitely nothing cold about that car. He has ran a very hot race here tonight, led the majority of the laps here in the first half. Ryan Pendleton has tried everything to get by that 39 machine, just hasn't been able to clear him, as they've been side by side numerous times. Pendleton's had the advantage a time or two, but Brandon Evans just working those lanes absolutely flawlessly here tonight in that 39 car, and that is why he has been the dominant car all season long. 7 victories, and looking for number 8 here tonight, which comes with an extra special trophy as the 2023 champion.
I'll tell you what, 39 is a fitting number for him. He's led the whole race, and it's good. If you looked at the stats right now, it would look like he dominated, but he's led all these laps by about what you're looking at there, just barely. 39 is the right number. It's looking like Ryan Newman out there. You're a little faster, but you're not going to make the pass. It's like pulling teeth out here, and you see it every time 23 gets a run, takes a look to the inside, cannot finish the pass.
It's like dangling a carrot ahead of somebody, Chris, and making them think that they're getting closer and closer, and then all of a sudden you just pull it away and go off on a run. And that's what Evans has done here tonight. We're coming up on the halfway point, 75 laps about to be in the books here tonight. These guys have done a phenomenal job. We had some early caution issues, 3 early yellows, but we've been green ever since. Nearly 50 laps in this run, so the drivers expected to be thinking about a stop on pit road here within the next handful of laps. We'll see who the first one to bite is, as you see Barkis's car kind of step out a little bit there as we ride on board the current championship runner-up, as Pendleton gets a nice run behind Evans. We'll see if he's able to do anything this lap. I have to wonder if maybe he's going to settle with just settling in to second until they go down pit road and take a fresh set of Goodyear tires.
Yeah, I don't look for these pit stops to happen maybe 50, 60 to go. You're going to want to run as far as you feel comfortable, unless, like I said, you think you need to throw a Hail Mary. Now, one car that I think I would be trying to talk into if I was on his spotter stand or crew chief is Leroy. Like, we're not running as fast as we need to tonight. We don't have the pace. I'd be throwing a Hail Mary, short pitting here, trying to do something different, because if he doesn't do something different, you're going to run fourth of the championship guys.
Now, Chris, just because I always enjoy hearing you butcher a name, why don't you try that last name of Leroy?
That's Leroy, man. We don't need no last name. He's the only Leroy there is. Very unique name.
That is Leroy Koblenz out of Dover, Delaware. I wonder if he's a fan of that racetrack. I'm not a big Dover fan, as he currently finds himself just behind Drabick out there on the racetrack towards the tail of that top 10. We see John Ross in the 99 machine trying to get by Jacob Ellingson in that 27 car just ahead of him here. We saw Ross up in the outside wall a little bit earlier. Wonder if his car's getting, I was going to say it's getting a little tight, but looks like it's still snappy on him here as it nearly steps out. As we see Steve Tucker, he's really come alive here, Chris. He's about to make a pass for the fourth spot on the racetrack. You decided that it was time for him to wake up, and I got to give credit to his spotter here tonight, Roger Pierce. Pierce was over in the YouTube chat, mentioned they would get their laps back and be contenders in this thing, and well, he's about to join that fight, as the next car in line for him is that second place championship driver of Jamie Barkis. He's still got a gap to get up there to Barkis, but Steve Tucker's worked his way back from multiple laps down, now finds himself inside the top 5, currently running in position number 4.
Yeah, and he's just slowly and methodically. We saw him run at the back for a long time, and now he's gotten up here in clean air. Not this lap, but the lap after this, we'll have to see the lap time, see what kind of speed he's got compared to the guys in front of him. This will be the first time he's had clear track. He's going to have to outpace him, because he's made his pass all the way up to fourth, but he is 4 seconds behind our leaders. So we'll see what kind of pace this 24 has right here.
I have to wonder if maybe Tucker was saving a bit of tire there. Like you mentioned, we'll have to see what he can do this time when they cross the line. We'll see what kind of lap time we get out of the Steve Tucker machine.
Wow, that was quite a bit quicker than the leader.
0.3 of a second, nearly 0.4 quicker than race leader Brandon Evans. He was the only driver in the 27s, and he was a 27.90. So that is quite the gap over just about everyone on the field. Steve Tucker seems to be a car to watch here as we're getting towards the late stages of this race, currently in the middle portion.
Oh, he gave a lot back.
67 to go. I think he had just a little bit of a moment. You see him running a little bit higher here in that 24 machine is Steve Tucker. Currently just trying to close the gap on his championship rivals that are running in first and third respectively. And what this is going to do, Chris, is set Tucker up for a nice position when he does come out of the pits eventually here, as we see our race leader Brandon Evans catching up to the 85 machine just ahead of him there on the racetrack. That is James Goshen. Goshen's had his fair share of incidents here tonight that he's been caught up in, and a lot of them not of his doing, but Unfortunate for him, he has been the poor victim in those events. Nearly 60 laps since the last pit stop for these race leaders. So we'll have to see when they do opt to come down. I think you're right, where it's going to be closer to about 50 to go when they do opt to come down. Take a little bit less fuel, set yourself up nicely. And right as I say that, of course, that is the third place car of Jamie Barkus that's hit pit road. He's got some friends with him. Well, I don't know if there's friends, but Cody McElwain, Jake Ellingson, and Ryan Pendleton. So 2 of the top 3 have all come down pit road. Pretty much the entire top 5, with the exception of Evans and Tucker, all on pit road. They're going to be looking for clean pit stops here. No speeding. No,
Tucker. Ooh,
no issues. Steve Tucker to pit road. He's going to bring some friends with him as well. That's George Jewell, Patrick Drabick, also coming down pit road. Watch for Brandon Evans to come down shortly. The only car still on the track, Brandon Evans, John Ross, Leroy Koblenz, and Craig Schroeder, as Evans working his way around the Goshen machine now. Goshen.
Oh, we got to talk about something that happened here. Ryan Pendleton, lap 86, when they all pitted, he saw the 15 coming to pit road. He tried to cover it, and he has wrecked entering pit road. This happened a couple laps ago on lap 86. The 23 spun and wrecked coming to pit road right in front of the 15.
We'll see if we can get a replay of that for Ryan Pendleton. Issues for him coming onto pit road, like you mentioned, wrecked that machine. Looks like it's been repaired though, so hopefully he's okay.
And what happened here is, it was back further than this. He saw the 15, I think, in his mirror, and he said, "Oh, that 15's coming to pit road," and he tried to cover that, like we saw. I believe it was Kevin Harvick do in Darlington.
Oh. Yeah,
And
that's a sharp dive down to pit road, Chris. I think you're exactly right. He saw in his mirror. Actually, no, it's just stepping out before he even thinks. I don't even know if he was thinking of pit road here. He just goes for a slide, nails the inside wall. Gotta wonder if McElwain was maybe a little quick coming down pit road there as well. Looked like he entered very, very quick, but Brandon Evans still out there on the racetrack. Roger Pierce, he's excited over in the YouTube chat. Steve Tucker making it work out there so far, and he's actually been able to jump Jamie Barkus. Chris Barkus has lost a bunch of positions on pit road.
Yeah, I almost wonder, did he get a penalty? Like you said, something had to have happened.
Taking a look at the pit time for Jamie Barkus.
Oh yeah, was he speeding?
I'm not sure. He only had a 6-second pit stop.
He wrecked leaving pit road. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
He spun the car out leaving pit road.
Well, we have more drivers down pit road. That's Leroy Koblenz that has decided to come down, and Craig Schroeder as well. He's from the heart of NASCAR there in Charlotte, North Carolina, along with the Dover, Delaware driver. Still on the racetrack, Brandon Evans, 57 laps remaining.
No reason for him to come. The two guys, his closest competition, spun entering and leaving pit road. You know, like, he has no reason to have to cover anybody, nothing to worry about. This tells me these guys do not make a lot of green flag stops. A whole lot of mistakes.
The racetrack seems a little slick here tonight as well, Chris. You see John Ross come down pit road in that 99 machine. 56 laps remaining out there on the racetrack. Evans going to start cycling through some lap traffic here as he nearly gets into the back of the 56 machine. That, of course, is Craig Schroeder just ahead of him here. Steve Tucker has been able to work his way up to third on the board. We'll see if he's able to... Oh, is Evans having to gather it up, catch that steering wheel as the car nearly goes around on him there. So Brandon Evans, he's got to come down pit road this time, Chris. As you just saw right there, had some issues. We see Patrick Drabick and John Ross here on the racetrack duking it out for position a little bit further back. Here comes our race leader, Brandon Evans, to pit road, Chris Wright.
He almost spun coming to pit road. It was very treacherous right there. We'll see how he does down here on the pit cycle, see how he does leaving pit road. Like I said, I'm not sure these guys have too many green flag stops with how many mistakes we're seeing entering and exiting the pits. I mean, Steve Tucker had I thought, too slow of an entry, but maybe he knew something we didn't, was just that cautious, and these other guys made a whole bunch of mistakes. We'll see if, at this point, Brandon knows if it stays green and he just has a good entry and good exit, the title's his to lose.
We're going to have to watch here and see how close Steve Tucker can get to the Brandon Evans machine. Of course, still over 50 laps remaining in this event, Chris. So absolutely anything can happen for these drivers. As you see Brandon Evans, great exit from pit road. He gets passed by Cody McElwain. Here's Steve Tucker just behind him here. Tucker has been able to close that gap on the Brandon Evans machine. He's on his outside. That's your battle for the championship lead at this point. Move Steve Tucker to the point. He is currently second on the track, but first in that championship battle. The difference on tires between these two drivers is 9 laps, though. So Brandon Evans definitely has an advantage over Steve Tucker at this point. The one thing that I think Tucker might want to see at some point, Chris, maybe about 25, 30 laps down the line, is a caution to re-rack and restack them, get them on equal tires so they can just duke it out on raw speed.
Yeah, right now, I think this battle is an NFL battle. Not for long. I think the 39 is going to be able to pass him pretty easy here in any time, and it's going to be over. Drive off unless there's a yellow. Just too many laps on that 24, but this, he gave himself a shot. You catch a yellow, gave himself a shot because of when he pitted, how early he pitted compared to the 39. Oh, 39 drives right to his back bumper.
Evans using the bumper here, Chris. He's wanting that spot right now.
And 24 had a really clean. It wasn't the most efficient, but it was a very clean pit road, and just a caution. That's all he's going to need, and he'll be able to race for this. Now, I do know that contact was incidental, and the 39 has told him if he gets back to him, he'll let him go. But I think the 39, Brandon knows, without a caution, he ain't getting back to him.
Yeah, the 9-lap difference on the tires definitely is substantial enough, as we see Cody McElwain currently leading the way on the racetrack, gathering up some bonus points, as last time by Brandon Evans did set the quickest time that he has run in this race with a 27.16. So Evans showing his speed here with now just 50 laps to go in the season, and it's Brandon Evans looking to take the race lead away from Cody McElwain. McElwain slides up to that middle lane as Evans took a look to the inside, not able to get there quite yet, but you know that Brandon Evans is going to be back on the point here within the next handful of laps. He's just had so much pace behind the wheel of that 39 machine here tonight. He's been smart, he's been strategic, and that pit strategy that he had here just a few laps ago seems to be the difference maker as well. So watch for Brandon Evans now that he's cleared Cody McElwain to try to put a little bit of a distance between himself and that 6 machine, as well as the 24 of Tucker, who currently finds himself in third. Just an update on Barkas. He's fallen all the way back to that 6th spot. And the other championship contender here tonight, that is old Leroy, has found his way all the way back to position number 10. So Koblenz just not having the pace that he might have wanted here tonight. Still has a shot, because you never know what'll happen with 47 laps remaining in this event. Still a long way to go, Chris.
Yeah, long way to go. Right now, if you're Brandon, you're just wanting no yellows, because if it runs out green, you've got the best tires. You have been up front all night, and the competition that you had early in the race has, for lack of a better way to put it, has taken themselves out of a shot to win this thing without some help.
Yeah, these drivers definitely needing a little bit of help at this point, as you do see the laps starting to tick off a little bit more here. It's Brandon Evans out front. Steve Tucker has cleared the Cody McElwain machine, so move Tucker to position number 2 out there on the racetrack. Both of these drivers running the exact same sponsor, the premier setups on board those cars. And hey, I don't know if you noticed it right there, Chris, but Steve Tucker with a Harpoon design scheme.
Yeah, ultimately that's why I picked him. I'm friends with Brantley. Yeah, I know Brantley. So I saw that he was a sponsor on that machine, so I thought, well, why not pick the Brantley car?
Yeah, Brantley, a good friend of Chris's from a past league that we've been part of. So cool to see him on board one of those cars here tonight as we do hop on board the 56 of Craig Schroeder, currently running, I believe, in position number 11. Yes, currently just outside the top 10. Trying to get up to Leroy Koblenz. And you know what? Shout out to Leroy. Just now noticing he has the yellow rookie stripes on board the back of that machine. To make the championship 4 in your rookie season, absolutely phenomenal work by him. I don't know how much iRacing experience he has, but anytime you come in as a first-year driver and you're able to work your way even into the playoffs in general, that's definitely something to be proud of. So even if he does come home 4th in the championship fight tonight, still something to be very proud of.
Yeah, if he is a rookie, you don't know where that paint scheme might have came from. He might have made it himself, have the rookie stripes back there. You know, if he is a rookie, though, great season. Make the championship 4 in your first race or first season. You know, you'd probably like to have had a little bit more of a competitive race tonight, but it's not over yet. Get a yellow, do something different. Give yourself a shot to go out here and try to win something.
That's exactly it. You never know how the caution flags could fall. You know, the intensity level is going to go through the roof. Drivers are going to try to do something different, and it might not work for them, leading to a spin out or a caution on the racetrack. But we'll see what happens here. Coming around to 40 laps to go, and it's Brandon Evans leading the way over Steve Tucker. That's your top 2, and Evans has been able to put a gap over the Steve Tucker machine. But Tucker, you see him there trying different lines. He's trying to go high, trying to dime in the corner a little bit more as he gets a run down the back straightaway here at Phoenix. This track layout, since they changed it, just really confuses me now. Don't know why, as we see 145 miles per hour, 160 just about for Steve Tucker. There we go. He does blip the 160 mark as he heads down towards turn number 1. Again, tonight, the track temperature 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 68 degrees the ambient temperature outside. So rather cool for these drivers tonight, and hardly any wind at all, 2 miles per hour. That's just Chris Wright blow drying his hair up here in the booth.
I don't have enough hair to blow dry. I get stuff cut, man. I'm not trying to have a whole bunch of hair.
Chris trying to not grow an afro, I guess. I thought that was in your cards this year, Chris, but maybe next year.
No, I don't think so. I'd rather have my hair cut and no facial hair, nothing like that. I'm too fat of a guy to have a bunch of hair and trying to keep me too hot. You know, I gotta.
As we watch
anything to cool myself down, man. Sometimes I have to go out and lay under the hose for a little while.
As we watch Brandon Evans currently out there on the racetrack, you see just ahead of him there, that's the 85 of Goshen. Goshen slides up the racetrack, nearly getting into the outside wall there. That's another thing that we could see come into play, is the quicker cars getting by the lap traffic trying to move out of the way, just getting a little bit too high up, hitting the outside wall. That could lead to a stack up, a spin out, anything that could possibly cause a yellow. I love the shot of the cactus behind the flag stand. That changes colors with the flag of the race, I do believe. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but if it doesn't, it definitely should.
What are we talking about? Oh, we got a spinner.
Jacob Ellingson around. There we go. Caution's out. Just ahead of Leroy Koblenz. This does change a lot here. Not everything, but it changes a lot, as I would expect everyone to come down pit road and get a set of tires here, Chris. So this might be what Steve Tucker was looking for.
Well, it's also going to bring Jamie back into the fold.
Hey, we need to check that cactus.
What was your deal with the cactus?
It does change colors. That excites me right there. A colorful cactus is all it takes to excite commentators here in the esports world, as Brandon Evans brings the rest of the field down pit road. It's Evans and Tucker. Let's see who gets the best pit stop here. And now we're going to get a real test. We haven't seen Steve Tucker up front on fresh tires as of yet against Brandon Evans. Now is his chance. We'll see what he can do on this upcoming restart here. Everyone making sure that they don't speed down pit road, because you're not going to have a chance to battle back from this one. This also gives Barkas an opportunity to get back in the hunt as well. As you see the left side up on the Evans machine, they're going to drop him down. He's done his pit stop. He is going to win the race off pit road. Great drive by Tucker. The tow truck hanging out there. That's not Steve Tucker or John Ross. That's the tow truck. But I guess that's their secondary vehicles tonight if they want. As Tucker comes off pit road second, it's going to be Evans, Tucker, McElwain, and Ross. The top four. John Ross with a great pit stop, followed by the 23 of Pendleton and the 07 of Drabick in sixth. Then we find Barkas in position number 7, just behind them there, followed by the 56 of Schroeder, the 43 of Koblenz. He's going to have a chance here. Rounding out the top 10 is Jewel just behind them. Actually, Jake Ellingson going to get by and move into position number 10 with Jewel behind him, and Goshen rounding out the cars currently on the racetrack. So let's see what these guys can do as we watch a replay here of Ellingson just going around from the high side. Koblenz does a nice job of, or Koblenz, sorry, I just made a new driver there. Koblenz does a nice job avoiding the Jake Ellingson machine, and that is what brought out our caution here with 32 laps to go. Chris, what can we expect on this restart?
Chaos. We can expect chaos. 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide. How many cars are out here? About 10. I want to see them go 10 wide.
I think we're 12, 11 or 12 right now.
But it'll be exciting. We'll see what Steve's got on fresh tires. We haven't seen him have to go and attack on fresh tires yet tonight.
Just taking a look through here, seeing if we have anyone available for a conversation here, Chris. And
nobody wants to talk to us tonight.
I'm not seeing anybody hanging out here. I wonder if maybe it's a Discord permission thing. But if anyone is listening to us and wants to chat, come on up to the waiting room. We'll have a couple words with you. The lights are off on the cactus. We are 1 to green. That is so cool.
Are we sure that we're 1 to green, or did somebody just unplug the cactus?
Oh no. I want a cactus, Chris. Can you get me one for Christmas? Christmas is 2 weeks. It was Dean's dingo.
I just want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to our producer tonight. He fights kangaroos in the summertime in Australia. He's a great guy.
But he's in Panama.
Well, yeah, but he goes back for 6 months, man. He goes back for 6 months and fights kangaroos.
Very nice.
$10 a person to go in and watch him fight a kangaroo.
Pace cars off. Brandon Evans, the control car on the inside. Steve Tucker wants to take control. He's up top. We're getting set to head to the Geico restart zone. Green flag. Brandon Evans with a great start. Steve Tucker sleeping a little bit here. Is McElwain gonna clear? Pendleton also gonna clear. Nearly contact between Tucker and Ross, as Ross gonna go side by side with Drabick. Drabick back up into the top 5. Somebody just got the wall a little bit further back, but I guess they just wanted a bit of a touch up to their paint, or I guess a touch off, as the 24 at Tucker now falling back to position number 4. He's side by side with Not sure who that is on his inside there.
I'll
That's
tell you
Ryan
this. We were
Pendleton
talking about him
in the
sleeping a little
23.
bit on that restart. That looked like my brother in the morning when his alarm goes off. He has to hit snooze 2 or 3 times before he ever wakes up. That 24 was passed out up there on that front row.
I set 4 alarms in the morning, usually, Chris, about 2 minutes apart, and I think I snooze every single one of them sometimes. But yeah, Tucker falling back here as you see John Ross getting by Drabick. Drabick down on the inside if we ride on board with him. That's Patrick Drabick out of Indianapolis. Good old Indy boy right there. That's not too far from you, Chris.
Yeah, that's not too far. That's, a few hours to Indianapolis.
Home of the Indy 500, of course.
Is that a big race? Never heard of it.
Yeah. They stand on the front stretch of that racetrack and sing for about 10 hours, and then they go and do a couple laps on the racetrack and then call it quits for the day.
All I know that they run over there in Indy is the Brickyard 400, and they took it away from us. So
I think we're going back to the oval this year, though, so that should be fun. And, yes, Dean, you just mentioned to us Lee Diffie commentating the Indy 500. I got to give a shout out to my buddies over at IndyCar Radio, Mark Janes, Michael Young and company. Those guys all do a fantastic job with that one, and I love that they've been reliving some moments over on their Twitter this week, or X or V or whatever letter of the alphabet we want to use for that website.
Have they relived the best moment, though, from where you were working out there at Toronto?
They have not.
Yeah,
they didn't
haven't
relive
done the best ones yet, have they?
That's right.
Very modest guy here is Mr. Hill. He actually did some work for IndyCar and did some stuff over there.
I did. 25 laps to go. Oh my gosh. Ellingson just absolutely sent it, nearly turned Drabick into a dreidel and sent him for a spin as he's going to be nearly side by side. Here comes Leroy Koblenz. He's looking for an opportunity to get by Ellingson there on the racetrack. Barkas has worked his way back up to 6, so slowly but surely charging his way back towards the front. But it is Brandon Evans leading the way as we're just 24 to go. It's Evans, McElwain, and the 23 machine of Ryan Pendleton, as we had a really cool safer barrier camera there. Love those cool camera shots, Chris.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool camera shots out here tonight. Lots of good racing out here. Hopefully, I think some of these guys are going to be hoping for another
Pendleton and Tucker both into the wall. Steve Tucker not having this restart and run since the restart that he might have wanted. I think Roger forgot to tell him that there was a wall on the outside there, as Tucker ended up in the outside wall following the Pendleton machine up towards that wall, as well as you do see Jamie Barkas just ahead here. He's trying to work his way back into the top 5. He's going to take a look onto the outside of Steve Tucker. Tucker now on the inside. Here comes Jamie Barkas up on the top as Tucker slides up a little bit. Barkas going to go further up towards the wall, takes a wave at the cactus as they go on by. That's your battle for 5th and 6th, but also the battle for 2nd in the championship fight, as Brandon Evans seems to have that on lockdown at this point. He's pulled away from these drivers at this point. Roger just mentioned over in the YouTube chat that if he says wall high, Tucker's not a fan of that. So, Roger, you're doing a great job, buddy. Let's try to get your driver back towards the front and just tell him to full send the corner. We'll see if he can make it.
Yeah, at this point, the only way to beat that guy out front right now and win that championship is going to be another caution and do what he does. And if he pits, you stay out. If he stays out, you pit. You gotta do something here. Try to get the track position on him. And I just think running out of laps, running out of time.
Speaking of running out of laps, 19 laps to go in the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series finale, brought to you by Jam Printing and Promotions here this evening, live from Phoenix in the Goat Locker Racing League. Glad to have everyone with us this evening. And it's been a great season for these drivers. Brandon Evans, 7 wins on the year, has been dominant here tonight. Looks like he's on his way to an 8th victory on the season and that championship. And again, shout out as well to Veterans for Life Foundation. Glad to have them on board as well. Coming around here this time, Chris, to 17 laps to go in the season. Does anyone have anything for Brandon Evans if we don't see another caution flag?
No, it's over. Fat lady singing. I'll go ahead and put it out there too. If there is a caution flag, I don't think anybody's beating him tonight either way.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The only way I think anyone really has anything for Brandon Evans would be an absolute disaster for him on the racetrack, which obviously we're not asking for that. Brandon is my pick to win tonight. We don't want to see anything bad happen to any of these guys, but that's what it would take really for someone like Barkis, like Tucker, even Koblenz to have a shot at getting that title away from Evans, as Barkis takes to the inside of Tucker here, not quite able to get there. Tucker doing a nice job of making his car a little bit wider than it actually is out there on the racetrack, holding off Barkis. As you see a side-by-side behind them, that's Schroeder and Drabick side-by-side for 7th. Drabick up top, Schroeder all the way down to the inside. Looks like Schroeder gonna win out that position, move him to 7th, and Drabick actually gonna take a chance to look to the inside. Not able to get there. 15 to go for Brandon Evans, coming to 14 now as we're getting down to the final laps of the season here, Chris.
Yeah, down here, less than 15 to go. Brandon's pulled out over a second. Nobody near him. Shouldn't have any lap traffic to worry about. The battle is for second in the points between the 24 and the 15. They are driving the wheels off of that thing. I've seen the 15 completely sideways a few different times here.
If you're not driving the wheels off of it at this point, where the likes of Barkis and Tucker are, then you don't really want it as bad as the other guys, because you need to put everything on the line here. You need to be pushing the car as hard as you possibly can, taking that dog leg all the way down to the inside wall like we've seen Brandon Evans do, pushing all the way out to the outside wall on exit, trying to maximize the throttle time that you have in this car, trying to maximize the acceleration, the pace, the draft, everything you possibly can, as we do see a gaggle of cars that's 2nd through about 6th out there on the racetrack. So opportunity to gain some points here for the likes of, well, pretty much everyone in the field. But if you're Tucker and if you're Barkis, really, there's not much else you can do, as McElwain goes way high on the racetrack, gets passed by Pendleton. Move Pendleton up to that 2nd spot. Cody McElwain back to 3rd. Here comes Ross in the Skull Machine as well, Chris. That's surprising to see him battle back.
Oh, they get together, the 24 and the 15, leaning on each other.
Tucker and Barkis, they give each other a little kiss out there on the racetrack. We're going to come to 10 to go this time by nearly contact between Ross and McElwain there as well, as we're getting some really close battles here. 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th. Everyone wants absolutely every position as Barkis going to send it to the inside of Ross. I said it. You need to maximize everything you do. Here's Ross into McElwain. That got really close here. Here comes Tucker. Tucker going to get into the back of Barkis, sends Barkis deep into turn number 3 and 4, as these drivers absolutely pushing it to the limit here. Barkis and Tucker all the way down to the inside. McElwain and Ross up top. Here comes Schroeder as well. He wants into the fight, as Tucker gonna fall back a little bit from Barkis. He's gonna look to wind it back up and get charging forward, as we do have Brandon Evans gonna face 8 laps to go this time. We're running out of time for the likes of Barkis and Tucker. As Tucker slides up the racetrack, he's breathing down the neck of McElwain here, nearly sharing a seat in the cockpit. Is these drivers, they're just doing absolutely everything at this point to maximize their position as Schroeder jumps up to the top, tries to get up to Ross. Contact again between McElwain and Tucker. Tucker just trying to get by McElwain here, doing absolutely everything. He's leaning on him here very hard. Contact again between the 6 and the 24. Chris, these drivers are not afraid of risking these cars at this point.
Yeah, I don't think this is not going to end before a caution. I think these two cars are going to bring out a caution in some way or another here. 24 can't get by the 6. The 6 is not making it easy on him, so either 24 is going to back off or there's going to be a wreck.
And these drivers, of course, are battling for their own points positions as well. So they're trying to maximize their races here tonight. As you see Schroeder here riding on board with him just behind John Ross. You can see Steve Tucker just up ahead of him. They are behind the Cody McElwain machine. Coming to 5 to go this time. Tucker all over the rear end of McElwain once again. As I mentioned, 5 laps to go in the season. And it's Brandon Evans out front, but we're watching the battle here. Oh, as McElwain and Tucker both into the outside, while Tucker back down to the inside. He's trying to get by McElwain. I think the bumper might come into play here shortly off the front end of that Steve Tucker number 24 machine. 4 laps remaining for Brandon Evans. He wants to stay green here. Last thing he wants to see, Chris, is a yellow flag as Tucker dives it in deep, nearly into the back of McElwain. That battle is hot right now for position number 4.
Yeah, here we go. Side by side down in the turn 1 once again. 24 drives down in deep. It's going to slide up. He's trying to take the lane away from the 6, but he just can't quite get what he needs there. And at this point in the run on these tires...
Oh, I think Ellingson just lost it on the front straightaway. He might have caught it there, but that got really close to potentially bringing out a caution here. McElwain and the 24 Tucker duking it out still here as Tucker does clear McElwain, but McElwain not going to forget what happened earlier. As the freezer starting to creep open, popsicle sticks about to be in the air, Chris Wright. 2 laps to go for Brandon Evans, your championship leader, dominating tonight's race, and he's about a lap and a half away from kissing that championship trophy here tonight at Phoenix.
Yeah, it's going to come around as long as there's no caution. I think it's Brandon's race here.
As we ride on board with him, Chris, the cactus about to turn white. 1 lap to go for Brandon Evans. He's just got 4 turns remaining. I guess that's white and green maybe on the cactus, a light green. As Brandon Evans works his way off of turn number 2, down the straightaway for the final time. He's headed for turn number 3 and headed for glory here tonight. Brandon Evans behind the wheel of the number 39 machine dominated the season, picks up his 8th win and the championship here in the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series. Brandon Evans, your champion here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, dominating performance. Nobody could pass him. And got the job done.
He did what he had to do from the drop of the green flag here tonight. Multiple other drivers in that championship fight had issues on pit road. Brandon was able to get down pit road clean, get off pit road clean, and absolutely dominate here this evening, winning the race by 2.5 seconds over Pendleton. Barkus going to bring it home in 3rd. Tucker for Schroeder in that 5th spot, followed by Ross back there in 6th. McElwain brings it home 7th after getting passed by Tucker. Patrick Drabick, Leroy Koblenz, and Jake Ellingson rounding out the top 10 here tonight. As you see the results up on the screen, just behind them, George Jewell, James Goshen, Bobby Germain, and Doug Ellingson round out the field here tonight. We're going to step away for a quick moment here, Chris, as we work to get our top 3 up here into the waiting room, and we'll have a quick chat with them momentarily. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We are back here at Phoenix. We just wrapped up the Crusin Classic Next Gen Series season finale with Brandon Evans coming home your championship winner here tonight. Looks like we do have a couple of our top three finishers standing by in the waiting room. And now standing by with Chris Wright, our third place finisher in the race, second place in the championship is Jamie Barkis.
Well, Jamie, you had a really great race. We thought you might have a shot to race Brandon there for a win. Ultimately, you spun out once under green, and the green flag pit stop did not go your way. So take us through your night and what you needed there to win the race.
Brandon was perfect, and I made two big stupid mistakes. I was trying to get the car slowed up. I bumped the back of him, and that just made me get loose. I couldn't save it. So I had that error, and then spinning coming off a pit road, that was I don't know. And then speeding penalty on pit road on that last caution there. So you're not going to beat Brandon Evans making mistakes, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, give us an overview of your season here, and compared to where you started to where you are now, or did you meet most of your expectations, or just a solid season? And what can you improve on for next year?
It was a solid season. Got the win at Darlington. I was kind of the highlight. Got a good run going here in the playoffs with some good finishes that kept me moving through the rounds. I just had to miss too many races. That was a big, detriment this season. So, hopefully next year it will be next year when we start the next season, but hopefully next season, work schedule will work out a little better and I won't have to miss, as many as I did this time. So, that's what we'll look forward to, and we'll get back after it and figure out how we're going to be perfect to beat Brandon, because that's what it's going to take. I mean, that guy is just so good. He doesn't make mistakes. He's so consistent lap after lap after lap. I could run with him speed-wise. In fact, talking to the guys, there was parts of the track I felt like I had him covered if I needed to, as later on in the race. But you can't make mistakes, and that's all there is to it. Can't make mistakes.
All right, and who helps get it done for you here and get you on the racetrack? Any sponsors or shout outs you want to give?
Absolutely. Well, shout out to you guys for stepping in and helping out V Speed tonight, taking this over for Wednesday night. We appreciate that since this was the last race of the season. I got to thank Crusin Classics that's on the car. They're the title sponsor for this series that we run on Wednesday nights. Jam Praying Promotions and Veterans for Life Foundation. So they would make Goat Locker Racing go. So we appreciate everything they do for us.
All right, congrats on the run, and we look forward to seeing more out of you next season.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was your third place finisher here tonight. Runner up in the title, Jamie Barkis. And now joining me here is Ryan Pendleton. Ryan, you came home second here tonight. Looks like you had something early on for Evans, but not quite able to get it done there at the end. What more did you need to park that number 23 machine in victory lane?
Yeah, kind of same story. Needed a little bit more speed and needed Brandon to make a mistake, and he's shown that he doesn't make a lot of those. So hats off to him on his season, his championship. All the guys that were out there in the championship 4, congrats to them. Was trying to help out, Goat Locker Racing teammate Jamie get up there, and he was having a heck of a run. And, we were trying to throw everything we could at Brandon to see what we could, squeeze out there, but he just ran a great race.
Yeah, definitely a great race for him, but a great race for you as well. Why don't you walk us through some of the challenges that you faced throughout the event? And I know pit road was quite the challenge for a lot of guys here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely should have probably practiced a few more reps getting onto pit road. I'm sure the broadcast picked it up. I had a little issue there. Pit road was a challenge. We thought we would have a lot of long green flag runs, which we did. Just trying to run as hard as we could with keeping our track position, but still taking care of tires. And once again, did it for a pretty good job, pretty good amount of time. But Brandon just did a little bit better job there on that long run, and he built up a pretty good lead, and he was just quick.
And looking ahead to next season, Ryan, do you think you have something to make that championship for and maybe find yourself in the winner's circle with that championship trophy?
Oh, I'd love to, and it speaks to this league, Goat Locker Racing, and everything they do. I think all 4 guys it was gonna be a new champion tonight, no matter what. Fortunately, I won one a couple seasons back when I was able to attend most of the races. I will be out a lot of next seasons, but I'd look for more guys to join and hopefully challenge Brandon, maybe get a new champion. So hopefully.
Well, before we let you go here tonight, Ryan, any shout outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank for making this happen for you?
Yeah, everyone at Goat Locker Racing, Pat and Jamie who started that, and they're just building it up to be such a good deal on and off the, sim track. All the sponsors that help make it happen, Jam Printing and Promotions, Crusin Classics, who's the title sponsor for this league. Veterans for Life Foundation's coming in huge. You're going to see more and more of them. So you guys that broadcasted, all our drivers that come out and race, and everyone that watches.
Congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight, and we wish you a happy holidays and best of luck next season.
Yeah, appreciate it. You too.
That was Ryan Pendleton, your runner-up here tonight. Now, the man of the hour picked up his 8th victory of the season and the championship. Brandon, what was it about Phoenix here tonight that really just played into your style?
Yeah, Phoenix is I got a number of tracks that are my favorite. Phoenix is probably my favorite. I like Dover and I like Darlington, and we've run all them so this year. So yeah, I don't know. I've never run this track at night, so that was interesting. You're just used to different visual cues and stuff. The more laps you run, and running this stuff in the A Opens during the regular season, over in the iRacing official series, adjusting to a track for the daytime versus night. I knew that there's more grip. People are going to be more hungry to throw down fast for lap time. So I knew the dog leg was going to be important, and starting up front. So I was happy to be on the front row. Jamie threw down a hell of a Q lap.
Jamie definitely did throw down a great Q lap here tonight. And you mentioned the dog leg. You were one of the drivers that seemed to be a lot more aggressive with it, going a lot deeper, a lot further down. You think that really gave you an advantage here tonight? It seemed like it did help you pull away from the likes of Barkas and Pendleton, who thought they could challenge you a little bit at certain points throughout the night.
Yeah, it has its advantages. It's risk versus reward. I felt like the risk was totally worth it to take it. I know used to it would damage the car, so a lot of drivers would move more to the flatter part or to the actual bend in the racetrack. But I felt like, hey man, you got to take the dog leg. I mean, there's just no other option.
Absolutely. And a bunch of the drivers behind you had issues with entering pit road this evening. Doesn't seem like you did. Seem like you were able to nail that pit stop. And how were you able to save so much more fuel than the rest of these guys? And how did you decide when it was time to come down pit road for that money stop, which eventually sent you out front?
I think we could go like 85 laps on fuel. We had like 22 laps, I think, left whenever we actually went green. I was just going to split it down the middle, and hope that I didn't feel like garbage by the time the middle of the run got there. I saw some other guys pit, like they did 10 laps earlier than I did. I thought that was early. I'm like, well, lap times are already falling off. These guys are going to have to run another however many laps more than me on older tires. So I just ran it and did exactly what my plan was, and just split it down the middle. I about wiped out, believe it or not.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because quite a few others did. It seemed like a challenging pit road here tonight. But before we do get to your shout outs and sponsors, you think you can repeat next season? You going for 2 in a row?
Yeah, I'm going to come back next season. I don't know if I'll win it. I'll give it my best effort. This start of this season was a little rocky for me. I think we went to Kansas. I didn't do very well there. I got to get better at the road courses, and then the super speedway stuff. That's kind of a crapshoot. I definitely had my share of mistakes that are notable to me to make me better. So we'll come back next season, defend the title, and clean up those mistakes. And I love the competition here. These guys are really great to run with. So it's a lot of fun for me.
Definitely look like a lot of fun out there tonight, Brandon. Before we let you go for the final time this season, any sponsors you want to thank or shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I think Premier Racing Setups. Just started working with them. Happy to be a part of that group. Veterans for Life. CrossFit Catawba Valley, Ugiri Ramen Project. I thank my family that's been supporting me all through this season. It's been a lot to me, and for you guys in the booth, you guys did a great job. Thanks.
Well, congratulations on the championship, Brandon, and we look forward to seeing you go for a repeat next season.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
That was your champion this season, Brandon Evans, winning 8 races and picking up his first championship victory. Chris, we had a great night here tonight, but before we head off for the evening, any final thoughts from you, my friend?
Yeah, it was an exciting race. Lots of cautions early. Had that green run there with some green flag stops that were very exciting. Too exciting for some guys, and cost some guys a chance to have a shot to win. And ultimately, a dominating performance by Brandon pulled away at the end and made it look easy out there. So looking forward to seeing what these boys can do on the racetrack next season. It was a great final event, and see where it goes from here.
Absolutely phenomenal event here tonight. And before we do head off for the evening, we got to thank the folks at Crusin Classics Sales and Service. Glad to have them on board as the series sponsor this season, as well as Jam Printing and Promotions and the folks over at the Veterans for Life Foundation. Also have to thank all the admins here at the league that make this thing run. It's definitely not an easy thing to put on a league, and these guys have done an absolutely phenomenal job. Got to thank Dean for pushing the 1s and 2s here tonight, making us look pretty and putting on one heck of a show, and have to thank all of you for tuning in for the season finale. And as we're heading into the holiday season, happy holidays to you. Whatever you celebrate, we'll be celebrating with you. But until next time, my name's Robert Hill Jr., that's Chris Wright, and we wish you the very best. Have a good night, everybody.